Welcome back, spooky friends, to another exciting episode of
Oh, the Sir Henry Sonic podcast. You just keep throwing curveballs at me.
I Am Zach, and this is
I am Calvin,
Mr. Hogan.
Mr. Hogan.
And today we are again in studio for another episode of the podcast. This is episode
No idea.
6.
Thank you.
I knew that. It's episode 6 of season 4. 4. I knew that one too. Cool. Yeah. So if you haven't been watching this season, or this is your first time ever tuning in, listening, whatever you're doing, this is Sir Henry's Haunted Podcast, where we talk about all things spooky related to. Most of the time, Sir Henry's Haunted Trail, unless Calvin is going on a tangent about something else that's unrelated.
Roller coasters. Music.
Netherworld. But
That's
if you
related.
missed it,
That's literally related.
if you haven't are new here and haven't heard any other stuff, go check out our other episodes from earlier this season. So far, we've got episodes with Tampa J, Chris the Girl, Harry and Christy from Freaks at HHN, talking about past events we just did, the Western event,
Hey
Ghost
Ride,
Town,
Trail 2.
Hey Ride. We just did a video. Our last podcast episode was all about Trail 2 and what to expect from that this year. That we just did an announcement.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But Trail 2, Ravensgate Asylum, go check that out. We talk about all of that in there. I am super excited, psyched out of my mind for today's episode, where we do a deep dive into Trail 1, which we just released about a week or so ago.
About a week ago.
And that trail is called
City of Slaughter.
City of Slaughter.
Go through a lot of names all the time.
Now, what?
I had to think about it because we go through a lot of names.
Yeah. Now, for those who don't know, I think I've spoke on the podcast about it before. I'm not a big gore guy. I really don't like gore. Really don't do gore. Really don't care for it. Generally, I don't like horror movies in general, but especially if there's a lot of gore. It's not that I'm squeamish or I'm afraid of blood or anything. That's not my thing. I think it's cheap. It's easy, as some would say. But alas, here we are doing sorry, I got a scam call coming in. Here we are doing a basically slaughterhouse trail. How did we get here, Calvin? I can tell you, I've got notes printed out how we got here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, it's one of those things that we talked about doing, to do a slaughterhouse theme, but to do it our way and kind of make it not the same as everything else. And then the combination.
My note I have here is slaughterhouse, but make it art.
Yeah, literally. And then the combination of the character that we designed, when that idea came, and then this theme. When it came together, it was like, oh yeah, that's what we do. But I don't know when we actually settled on this.
I think I can jump right into it. The concept originally came to me through a book, one I've read recently. I read it in whatever that time in my life was where I was going to school. I think high school, middle school, something there. It's a book called The Jungle, not The Jungle Book, but The Jungle, written in, I believe, 1906 by Upton Sinclair. This is a fictional story.
Is it? I thought it was real.
It's not real. It's a narrative.
Oh, I thought that was a real stories.
So yeah, but it's based on some of the author's experiences, like working and things. I mean, it gets real historical, a little political, blah 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 blah. The significant thing about this book and why it was kind of a big thing to time and culture, and when it came out, and the turn of the century, 1900s, America's going through the second industrial revolution. Is this book essentially became an expose for the terrible conditions in the meat packing plants This book detailed as Chicago, but it was all across the United States. And
So, for clarification, conditions for who? The people that worked there, the animals, what?
it was everything, but specifically what was going into the meat and the meat that was coming out for Americans to consume.
There you go. Okay.
Yes. So
Specifics.
his intentions were not focused solely on that. That was kind of a thing that just came about because of the novel. He was going for another direction. But the real big thing that the book became known for was the terrible meat and the chemicals and the raw. I mean, I think I just read something like 400,000 people a year were dying from basically eating bad meat or milk or something like that.
But also, like, back in the 1900s, what industry wasn't bad? You know, well, early.
It's one of those periods in time where you had to have something happen to elicit change. Think Titanic.
Yeah.
As terrible as it is, you had a lot of good that came from that. Similar to this. So I don't know how I got on it, but I was thinking about this book, thinking about this story, and that the setting, specifically the setting of turn of the century, 1900 Chicago meat packing plant. And from there, we rolled into the concept where we have announced City of Slaughter. But it was more than just that. I don't think I ever told you this. This is where I get a little nerdy. I got so much history. I got so much
This is
history.
what is interesting. Like, yeah, this is why.
And
you're
I
going
think
on about
this
it.
is a big part that sets us apart from everybody else, is because, yeah, we are a story-driven haunt. We do story through everything. There's a ton of story here, but I was going to the University of Florida. Go Gators!
Yep.
I minored in history, so I have a love and passion for history, as I've talked about before. But one of the coolest history classes I ever took was during the summer. And to be fair, all the best classes were in the summer, in my opinion. But it was, I don't even remember the name of it because it had like a long name, and it was like Making America from the 1880s through early 1930s. And
It's good time.
it was cool because the professor, or whatever teacher you want to call him, looked like a stereotypical like professor costume you'd buy at like Spirit
Yeah.
Halloween. I kid you not. This guy come in with like this weird short tie, hair like a mad scientist, these bifocal glasses, had this walk.
Oh yeah, so that's the best class you're gonna take, or the worst.
I'm
and
like-
no in between.
I had seen, because I'm minored in history, I'd seen this guy walking up the halls before, and I was like, boy, I never hope I get this guy. He seems out there.
Yeah, but that's
And
the best.
first
teachers.
day of summer, this class, he comes in. I'm like, oh, great, it's gonna be fun. But then he started setting up what this class is about. I didn't know anything because I just picked it because it looked interesting. But like every day, he broke out into a different.
Song and dance.
No, it was a different theme and a different thing. So we had Murder Mondays, where
Oh,
we
cool.
we learned about different murders and periods of murder from this segment. And I'll circle back to that because that actually
That's okay.
Tuesdays was like I can't remember, but it was like a different thing each day. Fridays were always baseball and sports. I love sports, so that, and I love historical baseball. Not so much a baseball fan today, but historical baseball in the 1920s when it was becoming a major sport in America. Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, all those guys, fascinating. So, like each day, what are you doing?
I'm just saying I don't care about baseball. That was what I was doing.
So, but my point here is each day we learn about something, and so
That's getting to the point.
well, a different area,
Yeah.
unlike something traditional you would learn.
Well, yeah,
in a
I like
school
that setup
setting.
as opposed of like, okay, now it's
So it-
1889. This is what this
So
happened.
it was less about like, okay, today, because I take like a Vietnam class, and we're like, okay, we're going to learn about policy and the foreign policy of America, and then the Tet Offensive. Okay, this is like, hey, we're going to learn about culture from a very unique perspective in American history. Oh, it's fascinating. So
That does seem like a cool
I
class.
had a lot of influence. I say all this because that influenced me a lot. as an artist in some ways, and I can give you an example of that. But we had to read these books. One was called The Chicago Trunk Murder, 1885.
Yep.
You heard about it?
Yes.
In case you don't know about it, it's basically these three immigrants from Sicily go and stand trial for the murder of this male who they stuffed in a trunk and shipped to Pittsburgh. So the whole book kind of goes through all that, and it's based out of Chicago, and there's a lot of
A
details.
trunk being like a suitcase.
Yeah, like
trunk.
a large suitcase,
Yeah.
not like the trunk of a car. Excuse me, good grief.
This guy's going through it over here.
Not like a trunk of a car, but like a big suitcase. So imagine, me chopping up Calvin, putting him in a trunk, and then I'm going to ship him off to Miami Beach. I don't know, maybe he likes it down there. But
Not that far fetched.
the book is kind of
Hypothetical.
grungy, and it's kind of similar to The Jungle in the sense that it there's a lot of grit, a lot of gruesome, dark, a lot of darkness. So that was an influence for City of Slaughter.
But
That's
wasn't
part of
it multiple? I thought it was trunk murders. I thought there was
Uh,
multiple of them.
Again, that was a significant time ago, and I haven't read the book.
I'm pretty
in
sure
this
there was
decade.
multiple.
The book focused on that specific one, and I do believe there was multiple Chicago trunk murders, but those were later in the 60s.
Yeah, okay. And because wasn't this also the time of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
Well, I didn't have that in my notes, but
Can I get a back check on that?
Chicago trunk murder was
St. Valentine's
the
Day
setting
Massacre.
was 1885, but it's probably around there. But we also have a little before our trail was set in 1901. You had the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. There'll be a hot town, the old town tonight. Fire, fire, fire. Ever heard that song?
No, actually.
And
no.
this guy lived in Chicago. Don't even know
Yeah.
that song. That's
I'm-
crazy.
Chicagoland.
Anyway, 3.3 square miles were burned, like over 2,100 acres of the city gone, over 300
People don't respect Chicago history.
dead.
Chicago had a lot of
Chicago had a wild history.
Yeah, they were-
wild history.
history.
Yeah,
Midwest.
it's a shame I've never been there. But so, and fun fact, the
Uh-oh.
for those who knew, this is our shout out swear jar. Whenever we say fun fact or shout out that's not allocated, we got to put $1 in. This goes towards buying Hayes. St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
I'm pretty sure that was Chicago around the same time.
1929.
1929.
Way
Yeah.
later. But I mean, it's the same time away from our trail as the Great Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
But the Great Chicago Fire actually happened in October. Fun fact.
Whoa.
Yeah, kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And so we've got a little nod to that in the trail. You might see a bit in the. We changed the whole scene in the trail to kind of.
Every scene. Pretty
Well, we
much.
did change every scene in the trail. We had threw a nod out to that. The 1893 Chicago World's Fair, basically celebrating the 400th, discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, was held in Chicago.
Is that when they built the big statue?
I don't know about
The
the
like
statue.
63-foot tall statue?
Could be. I don't know. It's the 400th anniversary, so good chance.
I'll have to find
Anyway, what's significant about this is that this is where you have H.H. Holmes. During the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, which went from basically, I think, May all the way through October 31st, I believe. H.H. Holmes started his notorious murder castle, where it's believed he killed at least 27 people, but probably 5. So you have all that history. Ton of history. Absolute ton of history in the trail. We haven't even got to the biggest and best one, which is, so when we came, don't worry, check your phone.
I'm looking up that statue.
That guy forgot.
Well, I don't know what it's called. You put it, the address that's on the banner.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. We
Okay.
got a ton of Easter eggs, okay, in this trail, and this is how meticulous we are. We have the details and the thought out of it.
Yeah,
Okay?
you thought there was a lot of nods of Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, we
we're
throw
loving
all
this.
kinds of stuff. So in Trail 1's facade, I posted a picture of it. To the left of it, we've added a giant billboard. It's like Howard's Meat Market, and that's our character, Bill the Butcher. We'll get to him in a second. Where the address on the billboard is actually the address that was like the main spot of the Chicago World's Fair in 1890. So lots of little things like that. You know,
So then, yeah, it must be the same thing. Because when you look that up, it's a replica statue, and I can't remember the name of what it's called. but it was originally debuted at the World's Fair, and it was 63 feet tall. And it was kind of like, what do they do? Like Burning Man. They like burned it at the end of the World's Fair, and then in that same spot they rebuilt a replica, and it's still like 42 feet in the air. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe you can look that up.
So anyway,
Hey, I'm just saying.
appreciate your contribution.
Yeah,
to
hey.
the history of it all.
The Bean, hot dogs. That's about all I got. Now Bears.
The John Dillinger time is also a fascinating time that I love.
Good band.
John Dillinger.
The Dillinger Escape Plan. I don't know if those correlate, but
I think he did. I was really fascinated with John Dillinger and kind of all those early mob guys for a while there. Still am, but he was killed in Chicago.
who was he?
John Dillinger,
Yeah.
probably one of the most famous gangsters in American
Well,
history.
yeah, I'm saying what was his association? Irish, Italian. Well, who was he?
White American male.
Oh, okay. American officer.
Yeah, American, yes.
Because the Trunk Murders was Irish Italian,
Yes.
and then like earlier, yeah, the Trunk Murders they were Italian.
This is actually a history podcast, not a
Yeah.
Hunter Trail podcast. No, but for real. So, and then our biggest thing is the main character of this show, the Bill the Butcher character. And we took direct inspiration from it for this. I have no shame in saying so because, one, the character, the actor, the portrayal, where we took the inspiration from is next to nothing. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
So we did a little bit of Shakespeare with it. But Gangs of New York, Martin Scorsese film, even though it's New York, not Chicago, not so much a thing. But Daniel Day-Lewis, probably one of the top 3 greatest actors of all time, if not
The best.
the best. His character portrayal in this film is worth watching along. Great movie. Little dark, not as dark as some other Scorsese films. But it's all about these rival gangs in New York City during the Civil War. So you have like all my favorite things. I'm a big Civil War buff. Some people like World War II, American Revolution. I'm a big Civil War.
World War II.
So you got all this going on in this Scorsese film, and it's incredible. And you have Daniel Day-Lewis, Leonardo DiCaprio's kind of whatever, as he is as an actor. Cameron Diaz,
Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
she's also whatever.
The movie is Daniel Day-Lewis.
But you do have some heavy hitters in that movie, not just Daniel Day-Lewis. You got John C. Reilly,
I always forget that John C. Reilly's in it.
who's in that movie. I don't know the actor's name, but he was in Harry Potter. He played Mad Eye Moody. He is one of the Irish people in there. And you have the politician figure. Don't know his name either, but he's in Moulin Rouge. The movie.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Some great acting with that. And the dialogue is great, but Daniel Day-Lewis's portrayal of his character, Bill the Butcher, is phenomenal. So I'm like, we're gonna do Chicago Meat Factory plant with our take on Bill the Butcher.
Yeah.
And
Good movie. Everyone should watch it.
go watch it. So this is what we did. This is where City of Slaughter was born. The idea. There's a lot to it, as you can tell. So we did our video shoots the past couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we had not seen this Bill the Butcher character, who is like he'll also be in the commentary. He's not gonna be totally in the trailer. He'll be in the commentary, so we get to take pictures of him. Cool stuff. He might get your throat slit. I don't know. But anyway,
Kind of started rapping there for a second. He was dropping heat.
I have been listening to a lot of rap. Speaking of rap,
Oh yeah.
no,
Did we get what the name of the statue? I would recognize it if you said the name. No. No. Well, it's a woman. Yeah. It's similar. Yeah. What is it? There's a full name. Yeah, right. What was your year of the?
1893.
Yeah. So this is where. Yeah, I was right. Hey. But it's got a full name. Something. Return of the Republic or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah.
So anyway, so we saw this character come to life with the costume and everything for the first time during media shoots. And legal shout out to Studio 1031 Concepts, our buddy Courtney over there. We went to him at Transworld. I've been looking at this costume for like 3 years. I'm like, there's something we can do, and it's really cool. Let me marinate on it. And I finally marinated long enough, and I went to him. He's like, hey, well, this costume, can we add some stuff to it? And I told him, our inspiration and what we were going for. And I'm going to give it to this man because he knocked it out of the park with his costume.
Yeah, we were talking about it and we were like, this is the character idea. Are you familiar? And he goes, yeah, got it. Don't worry about it.
It also was nice that Courtney knew the movie, enjoys the movie, and knew exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
So thank you, Courtney.
And so, yeah, and then since then, we got that costume pretty
March.
Shortly after Transworld, and we've just been looking at it. Like, man, this looks good. We can't wait. And then our actor shows up. We don't even see him in human form. We don't look at it. We don't talk to him.
This is total transformation. We're talking wig, facial piece.
Yeah, we're like, dude, you need to figure this out. If you need to go, if you call me if you want to get like beat up or something to get in the character. But
Method acting to a T.
this is all you. And so we're doing the rest of the shoots. He's getting dressed. We can't see him. There's active communication of where we are on the trail and where he is on the trail getting in the character. It's all to just get like the grand reveal of him in his scene. We walk in and he's fully in character, locked in, and it was pretty dope.
It was phenomenal.
Instantaneous was like, oh my gosh, completely, like you said, completely full transformed. Keegan blew our minds, frankly,
With the
makeup. Because it's not like
It's not like we're gonna airbrush it. We
Yeah,
got all
yeah,
these
yeah.
prosthetics. It's probably the hardest thing to do, which is human realistic makeup.
Yeah,
to age somebody in a natural way, very difficult.
he was doing like sunspots and like
Liver spots.
natural like depressions in his skin and mold and
That
stuff.
looked so good.
Like
I don't even talk about that.
you
That
know,
looked
yeah,
so
we were
good.
like, I was trying to get like close up pictures, but like if you really don't know what you're looking for, just kind of. But like Keegan just,
the guy
it was
looked
perfect.
almost emancipated.
yeah, he did. Christian's very,
He looked hollow.
yeah, very handsome, healthy looking
Yeah.
guy, and then he was in that, and you're like,
So,
oh god, dude.
Another legal shout out to Keegan for that and that makeup.
Yeah.
And y'all have seen Keegan on the podcast before. Incredible work.
Because there was a lot of pressure for them too to pull it off.
Yeah. And if you're wondering, well, what's this guy look like? It's in our teaser video when we announced this trail. You can find that on all our social medias and YouTube.
But yeah, there was a lot of pressure for them too, and rightfully so. This is like, it's not a character that we usually do because it's not like,
It's not just like a silicone mask.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
beefy,
yeah.
I'm gonna kill you, guy. I'm 9 foot tall.
this requires like actual chops.
This is art.
You're
This
playing
is art.
a person,
Yeah,
and that's harder than playing any zombie or any monster.
absolutely.
And so they killed it. So it's crazy. So we're shooting this specific scene. It's quite violent, and we're choreographing it all out. And Christian, the actor, is being real respectful as he is. And then as soon as the camera's turned on, I'm standing next to him off scene, and I can see it. You hear action, and his face just dropped like when dude saw Jaws for the first time, and he was immediately in it, and just started speaking very colorfully for the first time that we've ever heard.
It was crazy.
And so as soon as it was cut, it was, oh my Christian, what are you doing? Like it was, he is in it and he is ready. It's the coolest character we've done.
It might be my favorite character of all time.
He looks perfect.
That's our Hendrix. That's how epic this is going to be. And his interaction with people in the common area, y'all ain't ready.
Yeah.
Y'all are not ready.
So let's talk about the character in as far as the story goes. Who is our Bill the Butcher?
So yeah, our Bill the Butcher he's the proprietor of this meat factory plant, Howard's Meat Factory. So he's got a little storefront he sells, but then he has the factory itself, and that's The facade that we changed this year, you'll see that, and he's going to Trail 1, or Meat Factory, literally says meat on there.
Can't miss it.
So, so he's, and everybody else under him is just kind of, you can go read the story. I'm not going to verbatim here. You want to read the story, it's on our social medias, in the YouTube. But basically, he's roped everybody in, and now everybody's terrified of him because he runs the city. The mayor, the politician, they don't run the city. They're all being essentially bought by him, but he's paying them in fear. So don't cross him, or you'll end up sorry.
He's not like a politician, but he was a prominent figure. Everyone knows who he was, and then, like, yeah, kind of delved from there into.
And the Daniel Day-Lewis Bill the Butcher character movie was based on a real character,
Which,
real life
yeah.
character, Bill the Butcher.
Yeah, I didn't bring that up. I don't remember much about the real one, but I know he was
Similar to the movie, politician / meat factory, meat packing owner person. So that's kind of a short narrative of our Bill the Butcher. So you're going to have this whole city, basically, as its city of slaughter. Everybody, especially the people in this factory that are working for him, are just his minions. Slaughter, gore, slaughter. And like you said earlier, we've changed a lot of scenes on this trail.
There's a returning favorite.
Yes. one of the most talked about scenes at Sir Henry's Haunted Trail makes its debut in Trail 1, City of Slaughter. We'll leave it at that. You'll just have to see what we're talking about when you go through this trail. Yeah, pretty much I think every scene has been touched and changed on this trail.
Yep.
And scene-wise being set dressing scenes. We didn't tear down, rebuild anything on this trail. We had too much going on in other places.
While like most of the other, so like we were talking about Trail 2 getting all these nice big grand effects, and the Hayride getting a couple big effects too. Trail 1 got the most like scenic transformation,
Yes.
and a lot of the effort is going into the actual sets and the gore.
And character design, too.
Yeah, character and the gore. There are some pieces in there that are pretty gnarly. There's stuff you ain't never seen from us.
We have one prop in the finale of Trail 1. It's new. It's custom built by by our team.
Yeah.
Custom built this.
That is a big effect.
Can't wait to see this in action.
Yeah.
But it's going to be sick.
Yeah, that thing's gnarly. But
Sick.
a couple of the bodies that we have on the board playing out, the one right before the finale.
The body before the finale.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's going to be gruesome. Yeah, I'm telling you, I've never done anything like this before, so it's a stretch for me. I'm like, even Thomas, my buddy who videos for us, he was saying, well, this is the most
violent stuff
we've ever done at certain reasons. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, we're taking it up a notch.
in the trailer. I think then that's why Christian had to speak so colorfully, because it was
It came through.
yeah.
But also that teaser thing I posted for the announcement, that is not the full trailer.
That is not the trailer.
The full trailer is going to drop.
That was literally like the last
2 seconds.
class clip we filmed before.
Next to last clip.
Yeah. We
yeah.
fully. Yeah, we were done, and that was
Yeah,
just one of. Because that was our longest night, but it really didn't feel like it.
It only went long because we were just having fun screwing
Yeah.
around with everything. But yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about Bill the Butcher and Christian, but we have a ton of other characters too. You've got the henchmen of the factory. You have little Easter egg characters like we mentioned before. A couple cool new characters I'm excited to see. You'll see some of them in the full trailer when that drops. Don't know when that'll drop. We'll see.
It's not like we can't just go for spacebar right now and watch it. He got excited and
It's
pretty much
done.
edited the whole thing in 2
48
nights.
hours edited. Yeah, it's,
He does that at least once every trailer. The one he's most excited for, or the one he's playing out the most.
gotta get it out.
He will film it, and then he'll immediately start editing it and be sending me videos of this. Oh, I moved this clip 2
Just like
seconds
the pictures.
sooner. How does it? I get
Yeah,
9
I mean,
Snapchats a day.
Oh
From
yeah,
it.
it's okay. It's good.
This one is pretty dope. This so honest. So I guess we can kind of talk about it a little bit too.
I don't want to give too much away. I'm not gonna give anything away.
This is everything with this trail is pretty
Okay.
all out of our
Well,
ballpark.
Yeah, so I don't like gore. I'm doing a slaughterhouse show, okay? For this trailer, when you see it, so you have the context while you're watching this podcast of when it does come out, there's a big reason why I chose the music that I chose for the trailer because it's a direct tie into um, something Daniel Day-Lewis said he used to get into um, the mindset for playing Bill the Butcher. when
Because if you
he was in
don't
that
know,
role.
Daniel Day-Lewis is probably the most infamous method actor there is.
One of, yes.
It was either this one or was There Will Be Blood, where he almost literally like died for the character. I think it was
Pretty sure it was There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, one of the two. The guy is a method actor, so then when we heard this, it kind of changed our perspective on. Chicago. Yeah, they were big on this.
So cool stuff. Fun fact.
When was the hot dog invented? The Chicago hot dog.
I don't know. I don't even eat hot dogs.
Come on, you're supposed to be a Rolodex for this stuff. You have a degree.
I'm not Google. That's what you got Google for now.
Who was the first person to put a whole pickle on a hot dog? The weirdos in Chicago.
Fun fact. The Harvester. When we did the Harvester.
Callback.
Yeah, right. This is 2019. Yeah. That idea came from something we learned about during this summer class at the University of Florida, and that was the Vasilla axe murders in Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
I based largely the concept around the Vasilla axe murders. Really creepy story if you've never heard it. Basically, this whole family on a farm in Iowa were mysteriously murdered, bludgeoned to death in their sleep. We're talking mom, dad, and like upwards of 5 kids by a mysterious killer that they never found. And there's all kinds of theories of who it could have been. The town preacher, a drifter that was camped out in the barn. So that served as the inspiration for the Harvester. And additional fun fact.
Did we get hot dog confirmation before you get too far?
Yeah.
So
Nobody cares about your hot dog.
here's the hot dog lowdown on history. Apparently, Chicago was a heavy influence, but it got fixed somewhere between 1920 and 1950. I'm unsure, but the first all beef style hot dog was 1929 by Fluky's.
All right. 19, so
Flukies.
almost our time period. So it would be not accurate for us to have a hot dog stand. That's kind of what I wanted to know, if we should have a hot dog stand in the trail.
Fluky's stand is the first one.
Yeah.
Sausage links.
All beef. That was the first all beef.
So go
hot
go
dog.
read the billboard and see what it is. What we can sell out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's accurate. It's
Pork
based off
loin.
another billboard design from that era. Anyway, the secondary fun fact about the Vasilla axe murders is that when I released the trail announcement for the Harvester, I released it on the day of the Vasilla axe murders.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's a madness to everything I do. It may seem like, oh, they're just, sharing stuff. No, there's a rhyme and reason for everything. So yeah.
That I was trying to remember. I feel like I have a story that revolves around that too, but I don't remember what it was.
About the Vasilla axe murders.
Well, yeah, that time period.
That was
I meant that time period of our lives, not.
yeah, it was like 1909 to 1911, something in there.
I don't remember. It was because I feel like that inspired something else that I was going to talk about. Because I want to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but that was Ed Gein. But I wonder if it's a combination of both.
Oh, well, I think I know what you're. I've seen that somewhere. I'm not sure what it was, but Texas Chainsaw wasn't so much that. So
Yeah,
that was yeah.
Ed Gein, crazy guy. I don't remember what it was. I suck.
Did we have? Are we revealing what character you're playing this year or no?
I
We'll
talked
talk-
about who I was good friends with in the last episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Go
I
check
was
it out.
so excited about that.
Go check it out. We saw him come to life as his character this season, and it's like we were saying too. This off the subject of Trail One, but what'd you say the other night? It was like the first time in 3 or 4 years where you're like,
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this.
well, yeah, but you're like, I know what I'm doing. It's like, we'll
Oh
figure
yeah,
it
yeah,
out.
yeah. Yeah. So for some reason, me and Keegan are always the last ones to figure out what
That's
we're
because
doing.
y'all are so flexible.
Well, that and we're doing 9 million other things. This is literally the first time since probably 2020, the last time I played Pyram, where we this early on in the season, we knew what we were doing. I'm in the video shoots in my own character.
That is kind of.
That hasn't happened in years.
Yeah, I can tell you the last time.
Literally.
Maybe the Ripper in 22,
Oh yes.
but that I still didn't carry. I felt like that was like, we'll do it.
That yeah, for sure that was the last year. Because then after that I played the Gravedigger thing,
yeah.
right? Yeah, and then I don't even remember.
Last year, it was Pumpkin Room.
But yeah, there wasn't there one in between.
21. What'd you play in 21? That was Captain Fury.
Played Pyram.
Yeah, I think he did. But that was a throw together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't happen often, but
And I, dude,
when we do, we cook.
yeah, I was sitting in the dark by myself, making mumblings, and people were turning. What are you? I'm in here. Go
By
on.
the time this podcast episode airs, I don't know if I'll have posted a picture or not, so I can't throw
We
one up
can't,
right
yeah,
now.
but yeah,
Maybe we'll have. I don't know.
I'm gonna be having a lot of fun. In Trail Team.
It's very different from you all also.
Yeah, but
And also,
it's a very interesting costume. The way it makes my body look sounds way worse than it is.
yeah,
but-
you just made it sound like you had a badonkadonk. or
yeah.
something.
I look thicker than hell. In that costume.
It's also, I would say, just like seeing all the characters come together, the video shoots, and seeing like the way it was filmed and the mood that was filmed. It's a very unique theme and feeling we have going out here for 2025.
Yeah.
It's very different than anything else we've
Also,
done
did we go-
before.
No, I was gonna say, did we go 3 for 3 for animal actors? But we didn't.
I don't know
two out of
what
3.
you're talking about.
We had animal actors in our trailers.
Oh
this
yeah,
year.
we used live animals with guidance, of course, on our videos this year. That's a first.
I was trying to remember if there was one on Trail 1.
No,
Or
no,
not.
no, no.
Maybe a rogue roach on the wall or something. In one of the clips, no one knows.
Oh, he did film a roach in Trail 2 in
Did
the
he
in the
actually?
playroom.
That's perfect.
I got some B-roll of that. Yeah, I remember that.
That's perfect. That's really
Golly.
funny.
I was going somewhere. Oh, but yeah, it's a very unique feel. I mean, but it's like a mature feel, almost.
I don't know. Everything this year, and it must have been the quite frankly, the hell we went through last year has built us to this of how easy everything has been and has fallen into place from the build, the design, everything all the way up into this past weekend.
Yeah.
That it all flowed super smooth and all the outcome. There was how many times did we have to reshoot something? Literally,
Minimal.
only was that one where Christian started speaking comfortably because of how dynamic that shot was. But
The dog was complicated too.
but yeah, it's all just coming together so well and exactly how we expected it and wanted it
Well, you knock on some wood or something,
to. But this is great. This is the easiest video shooting week, and everything felt right. Right, vibes are right.
I think the visions are all aligned for this
Yeah.
season. I think usually it's just largely it comes from me, and y'all try to understand what I'm getting at. But I think I've done a better job of articulating the vision
Yeah.
and having y'all see the same vision as well.
Well, that and us putting so much of ourselves into
And
these
that's a
specific
big thing.
things too as well.
Because it makes a difference when you play
Yeah.
a character that's involved, and it's not something like, oh, throw together.
Well, I'm not even talking about that, but just like
I
Keegan
would.
doing the distressing in
Well,
X,
yeah.
Y, and Z scene, or
Yeah.
me designing this X, Y, and Z effect, or whatever. Like that helps to connect to it
Yeah,
more
there's,
so than we
there's
have
more
previously.
cohesion. Absolutely, there's more cohesion.
But yeah, this the whole weekend just felt right. All the characters looked right and interacted with, the shots. The camera loved them. So it's cool. It feels nice. Even with like trials and tribulations of the stupid stuff we had to do, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So, any last little bits of things you want to add to Trail 1?
I'm trying to think
It's
of
just your chance to talk about it. I feel like
this one's for you.
yeah, it was
This
for me.
one is for you.
This is for me.
I'm trying to think of some Chicago history. Harm's Way is from Chicago.
Well, so yeah, you used to live in Chicago.
Yeah, I lived in Chicago like I live in Tampa right now. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, my wife was born in Chicago.
Yeah, it's the area code. You have Chicagoland, you have Tampa Bay, same thing. Yeah, I lived in a village.
A holler?
It was actually classified as a village. The school was K through 8. You had to go a town over to go to high school. The K through 8 school had no buses. You had to walk to school. And I taught myself how to ride rollerblades, and I rollerbladed to school.
That's a very
That's-
Calvin thing.
Yeah, right. That's my Chicago fun fact. I used to go to Chicago, obviously. That's my lore. That's my history. Is
That's crazy.
music.
Well,
That's about it. Shout out hot dogs.
it's about that time.
Chicago
so yeah,
beef.
if you want to rewatch this episode, grab a hot dog and something
Portillo sandwich.
or deep dish Chicago pizza.
Oh, that's what I can talk about. Man, I missed that, and I just found out. So the place that we used to go to is a place called Giordano's, which up there it's like a Jets kind of where it's like a chain, but not a huge chain.
Jets is terrible pizza.
No, I'm just saying it's not like
Okay,
a
that's a-
Domino's where they're everywhere or a Papa John. Or like a Hungry Howie's is probably
Hungry
better
Howie's
example.
in everywhere.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's more of a Hungry Howie's thing where it's like a local thing. But anyways, Giordano's, man, the pizza's like that. And we used to just get meat and cheese, sauce on the side, and just dip it.
Hot
Oh
take.
my
I
gosh.
love pizza. I ate too much of it and it nearly killed me. But
Looking at that pizza would put you on your deathbed.
but
son.
I've never been a fan of Chicago style pizza.
Have you had a real
Deep dish?
Chicago?
Yeah.
You haven't even been to Chicago.
Okay, well no, but I've had imitation.
Yeah, imitation. Ain't the real thing.
Hey, well, hey,
imitation crab is the same as crab.
The best beignets I had were not in the state of Louisiana. They were in Savannah, Georgia.
Still, where
Okay.
did you get Chicago deep dish at?
I was a
If
kid.
if you couldn't put a tape measure to it and it wasn't 4.5 inches thick, it
I
was not
like,
Chicago deep.
No, this thing was thick. I was like 10, 12 years old. It was this little place in, I think, Sarasota.
You didn't even have taste buds back then.
For pizza, dang right
Well,
I
yeah,
did.
you
Get the
did.
hell out of here. This guy.
No, shout out Giordano's. Where I was going with that, there's one around here somewhere. I need to go get it. But the problem is it's like $50
My
for a
thing
pizza.
with the Chicago style pizza is all the sauce on top.
That's
How?
so yeah. See,
I don't like that.
it's blasphemous as what do they call them, Chicagoander or whatever. I don't like the sauce either. So I get it on the side and you dip it like marinara sauce. But yeah, they lay it on thick. I just like the meat and the cheese. It's essentially just a deconstructed mozzarella stick
No, my
with
'cause
some pepperoni in it.
Well, yeah, because my father-in-law, because I mentioned my wife was born in Chicago. And
It's
I
got to
think
be the most
he
dangerous
likes
food to eat.
Chicago pizza, deep dish.
It's got to be. 'Cause how
Um,
much cheese like a mozzarella stick?
I'm a New York pizza kind of guy.
Detroit pizza.
What is even Detroit pizza? Like what it
Jets?
exactly? It tastes like garbage, just like the whole city.
I've never had
Sorry, Johnny Bronson.
best pizza. St. Louis pizza.
In all
point blank.
reality,
Point blank.
but that's not really St. Louis pizza. It's
No,
Italian.
it's not
pizza.
St. Louis pizza.
It's
just
Italian style.
An Italian restaurant in St. Louis that has the best pizza in the world.
Wild sidetrack. But the two best places I ever ate Italian food, St. Louis,
St.
Missouri,
Louis.
and get this, Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah,
Don't ask me, I don't know, but that was good.
that was
It's the
one of the
water they
best things
use.
we've ever discovered as a team. Is that restaurant?
Yeah, shh. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up on that note.
So the problem. One more last thing about that pizza. The problem with that pizza is that
Chicago style pizza.
no. That at that St. Louis, that you can't show a picture to someone and be like, "Look at this pizza," because it doesn't look like a good pizza.
Man, food doesn't photograph that way.
Yeah, but man, it'll change your life. I could eat there every day.
It's not gonna
fly
change
over-
yours because we're never telling you what it is.
Yeah,
Sorry, gotta be in a loop.
yeah. Got to be in the know to know. Gatekeeping that. I don't gatekeep it a lot. Gatekeeping
Yeah,
that.
we gatekeeping that. Anyway, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Sir Henry's Haunted Podcast, where we just discussed all things City of Slaughter. Our second trail announcement. Tune in a couple weeks where we'll have our third trail and talk about that. We've already discussed Hayride. You can go back and check that out. Also, we're going to be having more guests on soon, and I just got a really good idea for our next guest.
Sweet.
Cool. See you next time. Stay spooky, friends.
Ketchup belongs on hot dogs.